Hey, John.
Hey, what's up, Ben?
Not too much. Just wondering where you're at as far as setting up the roster for the CS.
In the thick of it. A couple of question marks, I think, just to kind of take care of as today goes on. But otherwise, feel good about where we are, but kind of have to see how this workout goes today.
Would there be room for a little more pitching length, like a Max or Chris, with the series being longer this time?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely fair to say. They're both feeling good and, are definitely ready and available. And different format, obviously, 7 games, 3 in a row, all that kind of stuff. So, I could definitely see them being part of it.
Go to the third row, Ben, if you can just pass it ahead. Thank you.
Check. This is on. 1, 2, 3. No, it's not. Hey, it's Maury from the Roz and Mocha Show. I follow your brother Kevin on Instagram. He's a
Oh, boy.
mental health advocate.
Yeah.
For good reasons. It was good to see him at the game. Check. Is it on? It was okay. Cool. It was great to see your family at the games last week. Is there something that your brother said to you to help you that you're going to bestow onto the team and to the change room? Some sort of advice that he gave to you?
It's funny. Kev always calls me the second best coach in the family. He's been saying that for a number of years. Jury's still out on that, I think. But I think, it's cool to have, a family member. And for one, it's cool to have my whole family here, right? To have my boys and wife experience this. Kev's an open book, if you do follow him, I think what he always says is, be you, you know what I mean? It's kind of the message I gave to the team this year at spring training was do what you're good at, be you. I've tried to do that in this seat, in this job, and kind of let it rip, man. This game and this spot comes with a lot of scrutiny and pressure and all that kind of stuff, but I think as long as you're being who you are, whether it's myself, staff, or the players, you're going to be just fine.
Go one row behind to Shy.
Hey, John. Since we last spoke Wednesday in New York, what type of running has Bo managed to do, and is that right now where the question mark on his status for the ALCS lies?
Yeah, he's done more running the bases, I think, as we speak right now, and hit live yesterday. A lot of swings, looked pretty good. But I think kind of just seeing how he gets through running the bases, turning corners, things like that, and to kind of see how the rest of his day goes is kind of, I don't want to say our last decision, but one of them, and kind of just getting some feedback from him when he is done.
Is today the first time running the bases?
Yeah, today's first time on the bases. Yesterday was just kind of more running in the outfield, and we'll check in with him here shortly.
And just in terms of availability for the round, how much availability does Bo have to be on the roster?
Not sure yet, to be honest with you. We're trying to weigh out. I'm trying to weigh out. Is it every day? Is it off the bench? Obviously, you want his bat in the lineup. So I think just kind of getting to the spot with him and getting his feedback, him being part of it, how much, if at all, he's going to be compromised, and if not, okay. And then how that kind of affects everyone else that we're going to try to use and deploy. So it's to say everyday availability would be best case scenario. Yeah, that's pretty easy. But I think it's weird time crunch with the series starting tomorrow and him having to check some boxes here today too.
Third row right up front, John.
Hello, John.
Hello, Mike.
Further to that, if, say, you determine probably needs another couple days, can't play till Wednesday, and would you run a man short for 2 games? Is that something that might factor in?
It might, yeah. A little bit different with a pitcher than a position player in my mind. And how you can kind of cover it. I think you go into every game with a plan and how you want to use people. My biggest fear would be, if it is a couple days and you're playing a guy short, what is that going to do for your chances to win, right? So that's all part of the equation. We'll know more tomorrow. We'll know more tonight, you know what I mean, just to kind of see if that is an option and if that is the best thing for the first couple games.
And is there a thought to going 12 pitchers, or do you feel like you're probably going to stick with 13?
we've had conversations about both. I think you probably think towards 7-game series. The 5 out of 6 days, things like that. You kind of want to stay with the 13 pitchers, 13 and 13. But that's part of the equation too. Is what does it look like if Bo is available? What does it look like if he's not? And really just trying to do what's best for everyone involved.
Third row on your left, John.
Hi, John.
Hey.
Jays haven't been here for almost a decade. It's only the 8th time that the Jays have been in the ALCS. Thinking back through this season, I mean, this is the hardest ticket to get right now in the city. What's your message to fans, and what's it been like for you to play in front of all these fans all this season long?
Yeah, it's been tremendous. I feel like the last second half of the year, really, whole year, they've come out and supported us, and I feel like you could feel the buzz in the city for a few months now. This atmosphere, I think you kind of have to be here to appreciate it in the postseason. It can be pretty deafening at times. So to the fans, I say thank you for coming, and thank you for making this a place that is noticeably different to play in when you get into this kind of atmosphere. So it's fun every single night. It was fun in the DS, against the Yankees. They were loud. It plays a part. It's easy for guys to get up and play here, and I think it's a tough place to come in and play as an opposing team. So we love the support. It's cool that you can feel it in the building, but it's really cool you can feel it throughout the city too.
Fifth row on your left, Mitch.
Hey, John. Max has basically thrown 2 starts over the last week, full starts. Has he just been kind of staying fresh, or is there anything specific you guys have had him working on over that time?
I think kind of a little bit of both. Definitely keeping himself ready in any really capacity, I think. But I think what he's working on is just trying to get back to being him in terms of delivery, finishing his pitches, being able to put the ball where he wants to, which I think was compromised at times over this season. So that's it, really. You want to keep the pitch count where it is. You want to make sure that he can do certain things, not just with his fastball, but his secondary stuff too.
And I'm sure you stayed up watching last night. I'm just wondering, what was your experience watching that game?
It's tired, man. That was a hell of a game. There's so many moving parts. Yeah, you can see where in the postseason, when you get into extra innings without the runner at second, you can get into some really, really tricky situations. I thought it was a hell of a baseball game from both teams and from both managers, to be honest with you. And it kept me on the edge of my seat. I went all the way through my dinner with my wife and back home at the condo. So it was entertaining for sure, but glad I wasn't, part of that one. That's a big-time baseball game right there.
On the row behind, Rob.
Hey, John, a lot of you guys have not gone ALDS to ALCS, but there's one guy who's going to be on the mound tomorrow who has. How much of is that an advantage, and what do you like about his ability to handle the next step in the big stage?
Yeah, I mean, Kev's just been so consistent, since he's been here, and he's been in big games here, just did a game 1, last week, and I think that his demeanor continues to impress me, whether it's a game in June or whether it's in a playoff game. He kind of doesn't budge. So having that veteran guy out there to navigate things in real time. Kev talked about the at-bat against Judge, game 1, 6th inning, where he wasn't afraid to walk him, you know what I mean, and did the same thing to Bellinger after that. And kind of when you have a guy with good stuff and you have a guy that can process what's going on in real time, you feel really good about his decision-making in those spots. So I'm looking forward to him tomorrow to kind of, getting the series off to a strong start, hopefully. And, there's something about his demeanor, just kind of his presence every day, where the day he's pitching, everyone feels a little bit more confident, I think, going into it.
And John, 2 years ago on Canadian Thanksgiving, we were here under different circumstances. Was there any point along the way that you really felt that you had turned a corner as a team?
Yeah, it's going to sound funny. I think we did last September. To be honest with you, when we were still playing and not where we wanted to be. I've said that before this year. I think that last year gave us a chance to really dive into some ways to get better, as opposed to late in the fall where the season ends not the way you want it to, and then you kind of get going. So I think that's when it started. I think being aligned with front office, with staff, with players really kind of started then. Not that it wasn't before, but I think we kind of used that as an opportunity to kind of self-evaluate, if you will. So going into spring training, you can kind of feel it. I've said that before. You're quietly confident about the group, confident about the work, the prep, the people that we added to. And you can kind of see it unfold in real time this year.
Fifth row on your right, John.
Schneider, what is it like going from last series where you're playing a Yankees team where you both know each other so much throughout the year to now a team that you guys haven't seen since May and really for both teams are almost completely different groups than they were at that point?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that the work doesn't change, the prep doesn't change, right? And I think there's a lot of people that are involved in that. So as the season kind of starts winding down, you start to pay a little bit more attention to these teams and moves that they've made, how they deploy, some tendencies and things like that. But it is different. It definitely is different. You could kind of say, the Yankees were a little bit different from when they were here, in the summer, and that team evolved. I think every team evolves a little bit, but I think kind of how Seattle's playing now, way different than last time we saw them for sure. Whether it's how the bullpen's used, some guys they've added offensively, some guys that have stepped up offensively. Definitely, they're a really good team. They're a good team for a lot of different reasons, and a team that we've been kind of looking at for a while, hoping that we'd be in the position we are, and kind of thinking that it's pretty good, likelihood that they're going to be here too.
One row behind, Keegan.
John, is the plan to keep Trey and Bieber 2-3 going into the series, or how does that look?
Most likely. That's kind of where we're at right now. Nothing definitive yet, but I think that that could be a definite possibility.
How's Trey handled some of this in between, like walking up to the bullpen in the last game? This is more new stuff for him.
Yeah, he's been great, man. He's been really wise beyond his years. Stuff is stuff, and kind of his performance speaks for itself. But it seems like every time we kind of throw a new wrinkle at him, he's ready for it. And whether it was, and for the record, Trey wasn't pitching in Game 4. I don't know if I said that after the game, but I think when we kind of brought that to him, the fact that he didn't shy away from it was pretty cool. So he's been impressive, and I think that he's handled the in-between stuff really well. Kind of understands what we're most likely going to ask out of him, and give him credit for being able to adjust too. He did it the entire year in the minor leagues, and he's doing it now on a really big stage.
Second row up front.
Hi, John.
Hey.
A few days removed after that stressful Wednesday at Yankee Stadium, how do you reflect on how you and Pete kind of handle the game and the decision-making process?
It was. I think I said it after the game. I don't really remember that clearly, but you take a lot of pride in it, right? It's a tough needle to thread, and it wasn't just me and Pete. It's a lot of people involved in there. And it was a little bit more than usual. We usually meet before, every game, probably hour and a half before. You talk through possible scenarios. I was really proud of the way that, myself, Pete, Graham, Sam, Luke Hoey, who doesn't get, a lot of recognition on the field, but in the office with the pitching side, how we were ready for it. I texted that group and said, this is an opportunity to have some fun. And they all responded, so you have the plan, and then ultimately I'm the one watching in real time. Okay, do we need to deviate, right? It wasn't one plan. There were probably about 5 plans. And I said it before, everyone thinks of a bullpen day as a bullpen day, but you have to score and you have to play your game too, and the guys did that as well. So it was nice, and to see everyone be ready for any situation. This damn fly. Was really cool. And that comes with Graham being on top of the messaging, on top of the way they're getting ready, not getting hot if they don't need to get hot, being okay with coming in the third inning if you're Sir Anthony Dominguez. There's a lot of moving parts. So something that we'll look back on. We have looked back. We've talked about it a couple times since. And just kind of how fulfilling it was that everyone was really on the same page, and the players went out and executed it.
Yeah, how much confidence does that give you, like going to the next series after executing something like that?
Yeah, I think the more you do it, the easier it gets, and it's fun to watch. I've always said this group is awesome at going on to the next thing, right? It could have been, you asked Louis Varland to go out and start the game where he gives up a couple homers the night before, and he could have went about it totally different. He could have been a little gun shy, and it was the exact opposite. So I think you feel good about that and how they responded, and you feel good about the fact that they're pretty adjustable down there too. So it was a fun but stressful game to maneuver through.
Do a couple quick ones, Dan.
Schneider, I think when you talked about Scherzer and Bassett staying behind and throwing here, Max threw like 90-something, I believe.
Yeah.
And Bassett was more like 45 or 50, if I'm not mistaken. Where is Bassett at physically in terms of being stretched out? Like, what kind of a role could he have if he's on the roster?
Probably, at the very least, he could probably give you that. Probably 3-4 innings. He feels a lot better than he did, end of the regular season, even last week. So I think he's recovered physically well, which is what we wanted him to feel. But he could pitch 1 inning. I think he could pitch 4 or 5. He kind of has. I've said it before. Chris does weird well, and he understands that this time of year, whatever we need from him, he's going to go out and give. So purposely tried to keep some length there with him, and wanted to keep Max stretched out too.
And didn't see after the game, but just to clarify what you just said now, Savage was not going to pitch. That was just all for smoke and noise.
Guys, yeah.
And,
yeah. I talked to Ken about it in the third. He was asking when it was a good time to come in. I kind of had a fly on the fly there, Kenny. Sorry, but yeah, he was not pitching.
Dramatic walks out to the bullpen.
Yeah, he's got to cross that off his list. Yeah.
Go to Shy on the left.
I called that, by the way.
I did say Kev was more likely than Trey. I did give you guys that.
Bullpen games, the Dodgers used 2 of them in the NLCS last year, even in Game 5 of the NLDS with Milwaukee and the Cubs. They're getting creative. I'm just wondering, how do you see that being a consistent part of how you guys might roll out in a series in the postseason? And then how different are the challenges in a 7-game versus a 5-game in employing a bullpen game?
Yeah, a little bit different with just the number of games, right? Probably harder to pull off what we did in Game 4 without the off day after that. So are we going to look to – I think we're going to look to just take the best chance we can to win every night, If it's a short start, if it's a long start, you got to kind of read it in real time and then kind of see where you are in terms of availability, performance, and schedule, So I think that the fact that we've done it, I think gives us a lot of confidence in preparing for it if we need to. If we don't need to, I think we have enough guys that are available, to do that kind of traditionally as well. I do think the way rosters are set up and bullpens are set up, it's a real thing. It's a real way to go about trying to win. You know what I mean? Can you do it every day in a regular season? No, because people are human and they're gonna get tired. But I think when you can match it up accordingly, when you're trying to win a select number of games, you're trying to win 4 out of 7. That's the best way to go about it. We'll definitely do whatever we can.
All right, Schneider, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. We'll start in the 3rd row on Kevin's left over here. The 3rd row on the left.
Hey, Kev, how's it going? Good to see you. How do you stay calm knowing tomorrow is such a huge game and job for you? What do you do to stay calm?
It's just another start. Everything's the same. There's a lot more of you guys to talk to and more cameras, but, once the game starts, it's still a game.
Go 1 row ahead to Buck, please.
Kevin, you've had a long career and you've thrown to a lot of different catchers. You've thrown to Kirk more than any catcher you've thrown to. What makes him so special and gives you so much confidence that he's going to do a good job for you?
Kirk really takes his job really seriously. He's one of the few guys that takes the game, whether he's in the box hitting